Horror sounds usually have a very organic character, so they are very often made by processing raw recordings. And when it comes to synthesized horror sounds, I typically associate them with very distorted and dissonant sounds that also very often have a lo-fi character. So keeping that in mind, this is kind of what I'm going for. I'm going to start with a very rich sound and I'm going to tame it back so it has the character that I want it to have. So let's just change this to a sine wave and also activate the other two oscillators. And we're going to use unison on these two oscillators and detune them a bit. And maybe the other one a bit more. And now I'm going to route everything through filter 1 and I'm going to change this to a bandpass filter because, as I said before, I'm kind of going for a bit of a lo-fi sound, so I don't want too many highs and lows in this. Push the drive here. Because what we're going to do now in the effects section is we're going to make heavy use of the distortion. And we're also going to put a filter afterwards just so we can control the higher frequencies better. So just push the drive here and maybe also change this. And now the combination of the detuned oscillators and heavy distortion gives us some interesting movement. And in between those, we can actually use the EQ and kind of create a bandpass filter again. We can also activate the compressor in front of this, just to tighten things up a bit. I also definitely want some reverb at the end. I'm just gonna cut the highs here, because it should be a very dark sound. Sometimes a delay can also work really well for this type of sound. So maybe just use a stereo delay on this and just delay one side a bit. Maybe dial back the feedback and the mix a bit. And because I want a bit more dissonance and a bit more movement, I'm going to use some pitch modulation as well. And I'm going to use alpha 1 and just put this on the pitch of oscillator 1 and give it a bit of pitch movement. Now let's change the shape of this and maybe go for a length of 1 bar. Also set this to envelope mode. So again, pitch movement very often is useful to create tension and also create some sort of eerie character. We can also use the same LFO on one of the other oscillators and just pitch it in the different direction. So now they are really clashing against each other, again creating more tension. And from this point on, it's just a matter of taste to mix in reverb and delay and also play around with the filter settings here to sort of shape the sound further, depending on in what kind of context you want to use it. It's also interesting to test how it sounds in different octaves. So we can also quickly check how we would use this in context and just create a short intro. So maybe just add some booms as a start. Maybe like this. Maybe some reversed elements. Just take any distorted sound with a lot of reverb and just reverse it. To signalize that we're going to introduce a different element here, so let's just put maybe something like this down here. Maybe another one for the next boom. Maybe a riser at the end. So maybe this one. Pitch this one down and just have it rise from the second half of this. Maybe remove the first boom to give the signature sound its own introduction. And maybe EQ our sound. Maybe turn down the volume. So now we have this.